Hello, YouTube. I am Asian Johnny Cage. Actually, no, I'm not. Ah, crap. They're gonna ban me for impersonation, aren't they? But whatever. He's a fictional character. This is sort of a cosplay. So hopefully their bot's dumb, so they probably won't actually recognize it's a cosplay. But we're gonna talk about Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat, the greatest game ever made. This is one of my favorite childhood games to play in the arcade. When Mortal Kombat 2 came out, there were lines around the arcade several times. So, being Asian Johnny Cage, we're going to analyze the two most popular characters, probably the two most popular characters, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I know many people think Liu Kang is the most popular character, but that's actually not the case. In popularity polls, up to a few years back, Scorpion and Sub-Zero have always been 1 and 2 because they are the two quintessential ninjas in Mortal Kombat. So we're going to analyze which is the best fighter in game and which is the better character overall. So before we start, we have to get something straight. Scorpion has been one person consistently throughout all of Mortal Kombat. He's been Hanzo Hasashi, the leader of the Shiryu, whereas Sub-Zero has actually been two people, and both people have been Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei. So first of all, Sub-Zero was Baihan. He got killed by Scorpion, and the second character was Kuai Liang, Baihan's younger brother that was uncorrupted. Sub-Zero was corrupted by Sector, among others, and that turned into the Cyber Lin Kuei. So we have to analyze Sub-Zero as kind of like a two-person mix, whereas Scorpion is one character overall. So a bit of history on Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Scorpion, you know that Quan Chi impersonated the older Sub-Zero, killed Scorpion's family, and made Scorpion think that Sub-Zero, Baihan, actually killed his family. Of course, Scorpion swore vengeance, came back as a demon Spectra, and he eventually killed Sub-Zero, and that was the first Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero eventually became Noob Saibot, or the first Sub-Zero became Noob Saibot, Baihan, and I was never a big fan of Noob Saibot. He was just a shadowy thing that was going around everywhere. I'm not a huge fan of Noob Saibot. But then the cooler Sub-Zero, I think, took over, which is his brother. And his brother was a much more non-evil person. He was not corrupted by Sector. And Kuai Liang eventually restored the Lin Kuei and their honor. And in Mortal Kombat 11, he destroyed the Cyber Lin Kuei with the help of Hanzo Hasashi. And this is like 20, 30 years later. So that's kind of the history of Sub-Zero. He was impersonated and killed Scorpion's family. And then Scorpion actually came back, killed the first Sub-Zero. His younger brother, the uncorrupted Sub-Zero, took over the Lin Kuei, and eventually, with Scorpion's help, destroyed the Cyber Lin Kuei and restored the Lin Kuei's honor. Now, what about Scorpion? We already went a little bit over with Scorpion. He was killed by Sub-Zero, him and his family, and he came back as a demon Spectra. And then he had his vengeance on the older Sub-Zero. When he found out about the younger Sub-Zero, he actually swore to protect him because he felt bad about killing the older Sub-Zero. Until he found out, I think mistakenly, that the younger Sub-Zero planned to kill his clan again. And then he swore to kill the younger Sub-Zero. But eventually he figured out it was Quan Chi that was manipulating him, and it was Quan Chi that actually originally killed his family. And so now he has all this fear and doubt. Somehow he actually found his own body again, and then he became Hanzo Hasashi. And the older Hanzo resurrected the Shiryu and let go of all his vengeance. And he even formed a team with Sub-Zero to sort of like defend Earthrealm. And in Mortal Kombat 11, he actually goes back into his past and he fights his younger self, convinces his younger self to let go of all the vengeance and stuff and work with Earthrealm to actually defend it. And then, at the end of Mortal Kombat 11, essentially, basically the entire timeline kind of got reversed. So it's all like goofball now. But anyways, so Sub-Zero, basically, first evil person became Noob Saibot, and then the second Sub-Zero was an honorable person, restored the Lin Kuei, destroyed the Cyber Lin Kuei. That is pretty cool. But the better character and the better storyline has to go to Scorpion, because this is a guy that was a Grandmaster of the Shiryu, got destroyed, came back as a demon Spectra, and then even in that form felt remorse because he did something that he thought he was avenging his clan, but actually wasn't avenging his clan, somehow found his body and became the Grand Master again, went back in time, convinced his younger self to let go of the hatred, and eventually died in his younger self's hands. And then that younger self kind of got reformed and helped the Earthrealm to defend in Mortal Kombat 11 against Kronika. So just that sequence of events puts Scorpion over the top. And plus, Sub-Zero doesn't actually say anything in the game when he actually fires a projectile, but where Scorpion has the get over here and come here thing. And that thing, honestly, that really puts Scorpion over the top in terms of character. So the better character is definitely Scorpion, in my opinion. Sub-Zero's really cool as well. He has a great story, the two Sub-Zeros. Like I said, I was never a fan of Noob Sabat, so that doesn't really add to Sub-Zero's storyline for me. But Scorpion is probably my favorite character in terms of a character in Mortal Kombat. Now, in terms of playability in the game, I remember mostly from the original Mortal Kombat 2, and Mortal Kombat 3. I didn't play like any of the later 3D Mortal Kombats. I think the original Mortal Kombats were the better Mortal Kombats. In terms of like, I'm not going to talk about finishing moves because your finishing move is basically your personal opinion. I personally like Johnny Cage's finishing move in the second Mortal Kombat the best. If you want to know what that is, look it up. It's freaking awesome. NC-17 though. So don't look it up if you're like 5 years old. You shouldn't be on YouTube if you're 5 years old anyway, so YouTube has a policy against that. So if you're old enough to be on YouTube, if you're over 16 on YouTube, you should be old enough to look at that stuff. Anyways, the fatality is honestly your opinion of which one's better. Like, Sub-Zero dropping an arcade machine on you is obviously somewhat of a novel fatality, but that doesn't really go into the gameplay because that's basically after you've already won the match. Which is the better fighter in game? I'm going to judge this through the first 3 Mortal Kombats. I actually have to say Sub-Zero is the better fighting character. In the first game and in the second one, you have to remember what happens in the interaction between their projectiles. If Sub-Zero and Scorpion fire their projectiles at the same time at each other, Scorpion actually loses that because Scorpion's projectile will sail above Sub-Zero because Sub-Zero kind of kneels down when he does his Ice Blast. So Scorpion's projectile actually sails above Sub-Zero, and Sub-Zero's ice actually hits Scorpion and freezes Scorpion. So Sub-Zero wins in that interaction. Plus, in the original Mortal Kombat, if you guys didn't know, Sub-Zero had an instant win glitch against Goro where you just freeze, uppercut, slide, freeze, uppercut, slide, freeze, uppercut, slide over and over again, and you could easily basically get an insta-kill against Goro that way. Scorpion has no such combo. Yes, Scorpion has the teleport knock, but that is not as good as... That is actually not as good, in my opinion, as Sub-Zero's varied moves. His Ice Ball and his Slide were excellent in the original Mortal Kombat, and in the second Mortal Kombat, he got an extra move where he could actually shoot ice at your feet, and that was a great and awesome move as well. In the third Mortal Kombat, Scorpion got some extra stuff, but Sub-Zero, like the younger Sub-Zero, Kuai Liang, got some awesome moves. He still had the Ice Blast, but now he can make ice clones anywhere as long as you can pull off that move. And that gives you such a very wide variety of things that you can actually do as Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat 3. So the wide variety of ice attacks, plus his slide attack and some of his other attacks and combos, that puts Sub-Zero over the top of Scorpion in terms of an actual fighting character. So my favorite character in the game, in terms of plot and character, is Scorpion, no doubt. But if I was playing Mortal Kombat, in a tournament, I would definitely play Sub-Zero over Scorpion, at least in the first 3 Mortal Kombats. So that is my analysis of Sub-Zero versus Scorpion. Let me know if you agree with me, and if you don't, I challenge you to Mortal Kombat.